you? Okay, I've got my tea, my kettle, and every time you all move, I take a bite of my bagels. I'm all sorted. I'm good. Okay. Just I've got my fan on, so there we go. So hi. The main. Oh no, it's somebody from the next group. The group that was here earlier. They've obviously left that. So. Oh, I might have known who'd been bringing up the rear. Okay. So one of the main things you might notice this time is I've changed the paints. I've changed the paints into these little bottles, okay? I loved my paints in jars. I never had a problem, but I know a lot of your customers just didn't look after them properly and so then had a problem. So I just got sick of fielding off the things. And also, I've added 12 colours this time, and the portability of these is amazing. I couldn't take my other paints away with me or travel with them. So now that they're like this, so I was a little bit resistant to this, but I love them now. I absolutely love them. Okay, we've brought out, you can see that's the stand that they go in, which is the same stand as my little shimmer spray. Okay, I wanted them to stand this way up, so in the stand they won't fall, but it's not a tight fit, because that would be the tight fit, do you see? But to me, I wanted a flip top. I didn't want a point or anything like that. I wanted a flip top, and to me a paint should stand that way. It should be ready, so when you pick it up the paint comes out, not this way where you've got to shake it and do. So there is a little ball in there, but I've never really used them. There's actually a full ounce in there, which is half the jar, and they're going to be $2.99, so it's a really good price point, and it's just half, half. People say they're so tiny, there's not a lot in. It's half the jar is in there. So, oh, sorry, where wifey is, just slide slightly to the thing. So, I've put them in there. I've put them with all the cocktails on the top and all the other colours on the bottom, because your stores are going to be full, still have jars. We're going to transition, so you can just buy a stand like that to transition them into the new, because these were never made in the jars. These are brand new. They've never been in the jars. Okay, and my store in England is full of the jars. We're not, some stores are saying we might reduce them or do. Ben's just going to have both. He's just going to run them side by side. We still have them at Ranger, but we're not going to make them anymore. So once a certain colour runs out at Ranger, you can only get them in these. Okay, I discontinued 6 colours, because I don't like a massive range. So the 6 colours I discontinued were the 6 bottom sellers, which were the 4 darks. So After Midnight, chopped pesto, ground coffee and pomegranate seed have gone. So I've melted chocolate and slate grey. I'm going from here to Frankfurt show, and then I'll do a video with cools, warms, what's going on. I'll do a video for everybody so they can know. So what people who've moaned that the jars are going, I've said just get to your stores and buy them. Just get to your stores and buy them, so hopefully they'll be fine. Oh, there's one colour missing there. What's missing? Green. Sorry. Island was there. Island Parrot. So these 6, I brought out those 6 sprays in, I think, July, something like that. So these 6 paints match those 6 sprays. The paint inside is exactly the same. I haven't changed anything, it's just, but those are those 6 sprays there. And then I introduced 6 new paints, and I don't know if you can see how bright they are. So these I've called my cocktails, and I've named them all after cocktails. Okay, so this is lemon zest, lemon drop, this is blue Hawaiian, this is sour appletini, this is tropical sangria, strawberry daiquiri and mango punch. Okay, and I named them after cocktails because I thought I would be not allowed, and it got through, so there you go. It's amazing, isn't it? But the difference between these and these paints is these have no resins in. These have some resins in and they're very translucent, because I wanted that pop. You can use them in here, you can put them in here and pick them up and use them, but they'll work just slightly different, okay? For all the samples for the show, I only used the 2 new sets of paint, but can you see the brightness in there? And there's hardly any paint on it. If you were in the class, you would have used these, and most beginners put far too much paint on it, and everybody in the class, it was fine. You can't really put too much on with these because they're translucent, but can you see the oomph that you get with them? This is the normal paint, and then these are the cocktails. Okay, so even that's got hardly anything on, you can see that brightness. Apparently they've got backlight properties, so you could write rude messages on black paper and leave them around your house on a night for your husband or partner or whatever to find, and apparently you can see them. So those are the new. Any questions about the paint changing into this? Love it. Yeah. Any questions? Some people, it's always hard transitioning. I don't know, those of you who've got stores, it was hard when Dina went from tubes to little bottles. It's just the transition, but you know, it's the things we have to do. So those are the paints. The other big thing that I'm really excited about is the collage sheets. Collage is my first love. A lot of you will know most of my designs come from collages that I do, and I've struggled with collage because if I collage at home, I feel guilty. I feel I'm not doing like Dylusion stuff. And when I come into stores and teach collage, I have to really, really concentrate on backgrounds because you can't sell magazines because that's what most collage is made from. So years ago, I used to do collage sheets. So I've redone them and I've brought out 2 sets. It's taken 4 years because I kept using all the images. So originally it was going to be a book, but I decided to do it in 2 lots of sheets. So the set 1 and set 2, you can see on the back all the sheets that are in there. If you know collage, you'll know that one of these sheets is between $2 and $3, but I've done the 24 sheets for $14.99 because if they're expensive, people just go and photocopy them, and I want them to come back to the store and rebuy. They've got to be reasonably priced. The paper is fabulous. Unfortunately, all my samples are made with pre-production things, so all my samples are shiny. Can you see the shine? This is the proper paper, and people say, oh yeah, but that looks lovely. This is no good for collage because you can't write on it, you can't spray it, you can't colour it, you can't do anything. This is right for collage. But all my samples, you can see, have got that shine. So people might think this is the wrong stuff. There's 2 boards on the end there, all with collage samples in there. This set, you can see we have 18 large sheets, and they're all taken from my journal, and then the same 16 large sheets, have then been reduced, so we've got another 8 with all those different ones on, and there's set 1 and there's set 2. And those of you who've got stores or who are teaching, I would, even in my store, I would never give them the whole pack. I would either do small collage. So you can see here, this little book has just got lots of small in, so I would split the pack and give them the small. They'll come out, they'll be hooked, they'll need to buy the pack again, they'll want, you know, and if you're doing large, just give them the large things. If you are teaching with my collage sheets, you can't scan them for class. I know some people will, but you know, it's like these have got to be hand stamped. You have to they have to actually be the things, okay? So this little book here, this is like a great class because it's a ready-made dialogue, and it's just a good way of learning, or you can do it in a club, you know, whichever, but these are the small, and then I've got lots of the large. And in the class yesterday, who was in the class? You were in the class. There was lots of beginners, and normally when I teach a class of collage, people are like, but it just went like a dream. I couldn't believe it, because normally you've got some resistance with collage. You all right, darling? Sorry. Yeah. So those are the 2 collage sheets, and I am so excited about them. And again, you know what I'm like for education videos, so I will do a video just all about the collage sheets and etc. So you can see I've got tons of examples, and there's loads on out there. So that's the collage sheets, okay? Stamps. If you missed, some people missed the mid-year release. These were the mid-year. So we had Down in the Woods, we had Paper Dolls, we had Glorious Blooms, Crown of Roses, Ocean Life, and Merlady. And they were quite big. I wanted big stamps. So these here, all my stamps all go together anyway, but I did these to go with these, a lot of them. The figures are made really big. You can't fit the whole thing on a page, but that's not what they're intended for. So you can see I've cut the legs off there, and another one I've got a smaller head. And again, there's loads of examples to use. So this is Maisie Lily, and this is the Tie's the Limit, because this is made of ties. But when you cut it off like that, it actually becomes like a planter. So I always put the flowers coming out the other end. So more things to go with the flowers, but they can also be underwater. So the flower and the underwater theme, I sort of mix them both together. Toadstools, you all can't get enough of toadstools. So I did a whole, and I did sort of different designs in there, more foliage fillers, and again more underwater, but I mix them all up. And again, there's 2 boards on the back with samples, and then this is journal page samples as well. This year I left a lot of them uncoloured because sometimes you can't see the stamps at shows like this, so I did half and half so you can see. Eventually they'll probably all get coloured, but and they'll all go on the Dylusions page as well. So those are the stamps. Postcards. We completely ran out of postcards. They were extinct last year, so I did 2 new sets. We still have some of the original canvas left, but these are postcards, 8 new designs, and then the sticky back canvas. And here,
oh wow,
I covered my boxes. I always have boxes because I always have, like, you see all my, you know, because when I'm travelling or I'm in a hotel or an airport, I do this. I have shallow boxes because then I can root through and I can look for things, and I do. So I always have them, and I buy. This is Molten Brown. You might not know this brand. It's quite an upmarket body wash one, and I buy these for people for presents. But if I give it in the box, I'm like, can I have the box back? So now I don't even give it in the box. I just take them out and wrap them fancy, and have hundreds of them. So this was set 1 of the postcards and canvas. This is set 2, and this is the latest set. Okay, this is a Liz Earle box, you see. People say to me all the time, why don't you come out with storage? I don't want to. Can you imagine a warehouse full of boxes this size? Just get a box and make it lovely. So these are the new images. Again, these are pre-production. So these are lighter. Can you see they look a little bit faded because they're the ones I never get given proper stuff till we get to the show. But those are the designs that's going to be in the new postcards and postcards and canvas. Okay, new back chat out. So back chat went down so well. They're the same it's either white with black writing or black with white writing, and it's the same quotes in each one, and I use them constantly. You see, this is my cup of care. Oh look, it's empty. I understand everything you're saying, and I'm 100% certain I really don't care. So they're my usual nice little bits. I'm calling in fat tomorrow. Oh, that's got a bad word for the Americans. It's asterisked, but anyway, I know what you Americans are like. So that's those. What else have I got? Have I done quick this time, or have I missed something? Stencils, thank you. Thank you. This, do you know, whoever gets to me for the 5th, it's bad enough most years we do this 4 times. Whoever's to me for the 5th time, I'm just going to go. So stencils, all the samples I made were made with either those paints, that last set of inks, and these stencils. So there's loads and loads of samples of them. And so this one is Fancy Floor, and this time I came large and small. I never like to be predictable, so last time I just did large. I don't want to get into a rut, but this time I did large and small because I loved them that much. I was like, I can't live without. So that one is Fancy Floor. This one you've probably seen. It's not the same, but there was one I did similar to this before. This is completely hand-drawn, redrawn again, but this one went out of circulation, and I missed it so much that I thought I'm bringing it back. So I brought it back for me. So if nobody buys it, I don't care. It's like for me. But there's lots of new people. It's not been around for a while. So that's BETSY'S blocks. This is Martha's mat. They're all named after my grandchildren, really. This one isn't. This is called Jester. This one is OTI'S ORBS, and behind there is a board with stencils. I've shown you some of these backgrounds with just the stencils, and I also do a lot of this. I do a lot of doodling and cutting through. Can you see where I cut through? So I doodle on a plane, and then and just with my stencils, and then when I get home I cut through them a lot like this. So these are on the other side. All of those are done cut through. So this one, there's a really good example of this one. This is OTI'S ORBS, and it's just all cut round. And then 3 minutes, wonderful. And then why I've never done this before, I don't know, but this is sewing. So this is called a stitch in time. So this is all the stitches, and I did it in large and small. And you can see, here's one round the edge there. Can you see the different ones? I always do black and then doodle it round with white. It's just something I do. You can either put this through, and I spaced them so that every single one people could, you know, with the black paint. You see, I do think, yeah. But I did, because I spaced them, because one of my earlier ones, people were getting too much of the other one. So all of these, look, can you see? So if I'm in the studio, I do this, and I'm going to do it on here. I'm going to put the cross stitch between all of them. So if I'm in a studio, I do it with black paint. If I'm on a plane or somewhere else like that, I just outline it with a black pen, with my black pen, and then I just colour it in. So it can be either way around. So those are the stencils. So, any questions so far?
So all old paint colors
Yes.
are in the bottles now.
Apart from the 6 we're discontinuing.
Got it.
But you can still buy the jars if your store is a store that still loves jars, or you want to. They're still there, but we won't be making any more. And in my store, people are like, "Oh, I suppose you'll get rid of yours and put these in." No, because my store is staunch jars, because they've been slapped to keep them, to look after them and do, and they're going to be gutted when I move to this, but we're going to have both. But most stores, if you can order, if you just want to get that one, then you've got the new ones in, and you're slowly introducing them to the bottles, and then you can replace as you go. I hope you like them. And all my samples were made, and I'm not even halfway down.
I love it.
Yeah.
That will look really, really good in my store.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to give our video a thumbs up and subscribe to Sprout Time videos for all the Creativation 2020 coverage.